Time for the big justice story. When Mel Gibson was arrested for drunk driving 5 months ago, the arresting officer was forced to listen to his anti-Semitic tirade. Well, now the sheriff's deputy, James Mee, there he is, saying that he's the one being harassed by his fellow officers who think that he actually leaked the details of Mel's post-arrest tantrum to the media. The Big Story legal panel here with us now, Florida prosecutor Pam Bondi and civil attorney with me here in studio, Andrew Smiley. Thank you both for being on. Andrew, let me start with you. I know that this guy's upset because his own fellow police department, he claims, turning their backs on him. Problem is, how is he going to prove that he is the victim of harassment because they say you leaked this yourself?
Well, it's really hard to prove that. They've been questioning him, apparently 4 hours of interrogation. They went to his home with a search warrant. They took his computer, they took his phone records, and nothing's revealed that he did leak it. But what we do know is he's getting some pretty bad treatment by his fellow officers.
Pam, is it fair? I mean, this guy's a cop. He pulled over Mel Gibson. He says in his police report that Mel Gibson made those statements. If Mel Gibson wasn't the guy that he pulled over, would the police then be investigating a fellow police officer just for making anti-Semitic statements?
Well, I think police officers, police officers are investigated all the time by internal affairs. Julie, I think the issue here is that he is accused of leaking confidential information. He has denied that he's done that, and if they're able to prove that he did that, then he lied to internal affairs, and that's the more serious offense, of course. So it's all going to get hashed out, and like Andrew said, if nothing comes up with his phone records, with his computers, then I doubt they're going to be able to prove it. And with all the union activity, they're not going to be able to penalize Deputy Mee unless they can prove it.
All right, devil's advocate, what would he have to prove by leaking this, Pam? If he did leak it, this guy, his name, Sheriff Mee, it doesn't sound Jewish to me. I'm not really sure what his agenda would be, and how are investigators going to prove that this guy actually did this on purpose, and what would be his motive then?
Well, and that's it. That's going to be the hard part, and I think that's why they subpoena. I think they don't know where else it could have come from. I don't know if other officers have given them information. They're being very tight-lipped because it is a pending internal affairs investigation. But I think his computer, his phone records would reveal whether or not he leaked it to the celebrity website. And again, that's going to be the only way they can discipline him, is if they're able to prove that, in fact, he did that.
You think he's going to get in any trouble or no?
I think he will have trouble. He'll continue to have it. And the real question here is what's going on with the department? I mean, they had a big cover-up there. Maybe that should be investigated by the Attorney General's office out there.
Pam and Andrew, I want to ask you both about another hot topic now. The war of words between Donald Trump and Rosie O'Donnell. It's got us all just glued to our television screens. And once again today, here on Fox, our viewers loved it. First of all, Rosie called Trump a pimp on her blog, in case you haven't been paying attention to this rivalry. Well, then the Donald came on Fox today in a phone interview this afternoon. Take a listen to what he had to say back.
You're not allowed to call a person a pimp, especially when they're not a pimp, and obviously I'm not. And you're not allowed to say the kind of things she is, but she's not a smart person. And you know, the beauty, and I'm very proud of the fact that I've exposed Rosie for what she is, a dummy.
All right, so calling names, dummy, I guess okay, pimp, I don't know. Andrew, can you please help me out here?
I think that response that we just heard was to a question, are you going to file a lawsuit?
Right.
And he responded that he was called a pimp. Now, I don't think anyone thinks he's a pimp, and I don't think that that's really going to hurt him financially. You still have to prove damages. You have to show that the words that she said somehow cost you financially or injures you. And this is really just a media stunt as far as I'm concerned, going back and forth, and it's helping both of them get more publicity and better ratings.
I know, but today he said that, that even Barbara Walters is going to kick her off the show soon. I mean, is this going to hurt her at all, Pam, or do you just think we're all sitting back laughing and watching two celebrities have at it?
You know, I think the whole thing's a shame, Julie, and the ratings, I think, are going up on the show, unfortunately, with really the true gutter comments that she started making, the personal attacks against Donald Trump, and then he responded at the same level. But, you know, I think children, young girls do look up to Rosie O'Donnell, and of course people look up to Donald Trump, and I think just the publicity and the added unnecessary low remarks that were started by her are really sad in this day and age.
All right, guys, luckily we got you here so that you can react to some breaking news we're getting in right now here on The Big Story. And a Fox News alert for you. Breaking news in the Duke lacrosse case. We have just learned that the North Carolina State Bar has filed an ethics complaint against the prosecutor Mike Nifong, and basically, you know, Pam, that in this case it's been debated whether or not they have the right to file charges against a prosecutor, because I guess any charges that he's allegedly accused of had to have happened before this whole DNA case, because he's got some sort of immunity. I'm not a lawyer. Is this kind of, what does this mean?
Well, right. I think what you were mentioning is, and especially in Florida, elected district attorneys or state attorneys, as they're called in Florida, are not subject to the bar rules. The governor of the state, at least in Florida, is the only one who can remove a sitting state attorney from office. And I'm really surprised this is happening. They must believe there's something very bad, because usually they wait until the conclusion of a criminal case before any type of ethics commission gets involved, so as not to jeopardize the criminal case. So they must really feel that there's something there, that he has violated some very serious rules to proceed with a pending criminal case.
Okay, an ethics complaint, Pam, I mean, let's just talk hypotheticals here. Number one, he never shared the DNA with the defense. Bad idea?
Yes.
Is that possibly haunting him right now?
Oh, I think that's what it's got to be about. I mean, you know, he's gotten a lot of criticism from all of us for not talking to the victim yet, but, you know, that could be strategic on his part.
Yeah,
it could be incompetence, but it's got to be the Ethics Commission looking at him because of the DNA results, because prosecutors have an absolute duty to disclose.
Julie, this has to torpedo the prosecution's case as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it was going downhill already, and now they're filing charges, ethics charges against the prosecutor. It's going to torpedo it. I wouldn't be surprised if the charges are dismissed soon.
All right, he was just reelected. I mean, could he be taken out?
If the governor chooses, I believe he can.
All right, Pam Bondi, thank you so much. Andrew Smiley, thank you both for coming on, talking about this late breaking news as well. Thank you both. Well,